Are you guys ready for another tutorial? This is what I'm going to call the nest bag, and it's really a bag that can hold all of your essentials, or your laptop, or your school supply, your art supplies, needlepoint, whatever you want it to hold. And the pattern for this is going to be out on August 29th in my next drop. So you're going to start with your 2 outer panel, your 2 strips of your outer panel fabric, and your liner fabric. Those are for your straps, and your 2 little zipper tabs and your zipper. And then I have already ironed on my fusible fleece. That is just going to give the bag a little bit more structure. Of course, Tallow is joining us for this session. He is on supervisor duty and has to make sure all supplies are up to compliance. This bag would also be really cute quilted. So if you're into the quilting look, you can go ahead and quilt your panels before you get started. I am just cutting down my zipper tape to about 1 inch shorter than the width of my outside panels. And then I'm going ahead and attaching my zipper, and then I'm going to put my zipper tabs on. And let me show you how I do that. I do that for most of my pouch style projects. So you want to put your good side face down onto the zipper, sew it across, and you kind of want to do this double bias fold over the back side of it, and then sew that down again. And this is really going to give your finished project a nice clean look and hide all of the zipper edges. A lot of people ask me, how do I sew over a zipper like this? This video is obviously sped up. I sew real slow over the actual zipper part. As long as you go slow, it should not break your needle. And this does look like metal teeth, but it's actually nylon. The actual zipper pull is metal though. We're gonna do that on both ends of the zipper. Just make sure your zipper is already on there so you don't get it locked out. And you're gonna follow the same steps. The side where it's opened, you can sew a little stitch there or use a clip if you need help holding it together. Make sure you cut off that extra fabric just so you can get everything lined up in the next steps. But look how clean this zipper is. It is so smooth, and it's going to really make the finished product look really good. All right, next we're going to make our straps. Now these are really thick straps. They're very sturdy. This is just one of the methods I use for strap. You're going to put your right sides together and then sew along one edge and then flip it right side out, fold it in on itself all the way over just like I did in the video, and then clip it together. Now because I used fusible fleece for this part too on the whole floral printed side, it does make it really thick and it's gonna feel like you can't sew through it, but I use a jeans needle and it works just fine. You're gonna sew both sides and get this really clean look. I just love the way that this turns out because it's two-sided. Now you're going to go to one of your outside panels and you're going to mark the middle of it. And then you're going to place your strap face down, so right sides together again, and spread those apart evenly around the middle so that everything's going to line up evenly once you add your zippers and sew the bag together. I spaced my straps out about 4 inches. And then I ran a quick tack down stitch just to keep everything in place before I'm adding my zipper and then my liner fabric. So to make this sandwich, you're gonna have your outer panel right side up, your zipper face down, and then your liner face down. You want everything to line up along that top edge, and then you're gonna clamp it and sew it down. I actually lost a clip here, but you're gonna see how I do it in just a second on the other side. But once you sew that down, you're gonna flip it right side out, and then you're going to do a top stitch just along the edge of that zipper to give it a nice clean finish, and it presses down nicely. All right, here we are going to add our strap to our other panel. I'm just doing that tack down stitch, and then we are going to take our panel that we've already sewn the zipper to, put it face down. So we're at right sides together now, and then your liner fabric face down. My liner fabric is the same on both sides, but if you're using one-sided fabric, you're going to want to put it face down. Go ahead and clamp everything together, and then this is where you're going to see how you sew up along the zipper. I'm just guiding my regular sewing foot along the zipper teeth, along the side of it. And I have my needle adjusted all the way to the left so that it gets as close as it can to the zipper, and I'm not having to use a zipper foot. Of course, I'm going to lift my zipper foot up and keep my needle down just to adjust my zipper and kind of work it to the back side and keep going. Okay, now you're going to flip that right side out again, move your other panel out of the way, and then you're going to do that top stitch like we did the first go round. Make sure you go over those straps where you're pinning them down so that they're sitting straight up. This does get a little bit bulky right here, but it's very doable. It's not that hard. It just kind of looks challenging just to move that zipper out of your way. And you guys, we are almost done. This is actually a really easy project. Just like you do any other type pouch, you're going to take your outer panels and put them face together. So you're going to flatten everything. Make sure your handles are tucked in there so you don't sew over them. And then I start by clipping the middle sections down first. I like to push my zipper teeth towards the liner part, and then I clip it down right there, and then I go through and clip all around both edges. At this point, everything should line up pretty closely. And I'm going to show you a close-up too once I get to sewing this part of how we sew up close to those little zipper tabs that we made earlier. We're going to sew all the way around this big rectangle right here, but we're going to leave a gap so we can turn our fabric right side out. So once you get close to that middle section, you want to make sure that your zipper teeth are pushed towards the liner, and then sew right up close to where that little tab is, your end of your zipper. But don't sew over it, because if you sew over it, it's going to kind of get bulky in those corners. But if you leave a little bit of a gap, it's going to turn out really cool. Now, you're going to want to clip your corners just so you can turn your fabric right side out and poke your corners out nicely. Just don't cut your stitches, because then your bag's going to fall apart. This is always my favorite part of every project. Well, I don't like turning the fabric out, especially if the hole's really small, but I love turning it out just to see like what it's going to look like. Okay, you're going to want to push these little corners out so that your little zipper tab parts poke out and make the whole bag like look like a rectangle. See, look how clean that looks. And your last little step is just to close up your liner fabric. I just fold that in like a hem, and then I top stitch it all the way across, clip my threads, and we're done. I did add my logo on here. Of course, that is completely optional, but this is the perfect little bag just to throw stuff in. It could be a laptop bag. It could be a work bag. It's so cute. I like to throw my laptop in here and then throw that into my bigger bag if I'm like traveling. I also have one that I carry all my watercolor stuff in. It's the perfect size for that. You guys, the pattern for this will be available on August 29th, this Saturday. Okay, bye.